My name is Victor Granados Pascual. I was born in 8 March 1986 in Paranavaí, Brazil. I spent 4 years. I studied in a Catholic school, not because my parents wanted me to grow up religious, but because it was a good school. But I was never liked it very much. I found like the religious class very boring. They have the statues of the saints, and I found like that wasn't something right. Like, oh, this is the Saint Mary. Oh, you have to pray for her. No, that didn't make sense to me. No, it didn't seem right to pray to a statue, a piece of wood. In the Catholic religion, when a man become a priest, he receive like certain powers to bless and to forgive the sins of the people if they confess to him. He has the power to make them be clean of the sins. The thing I most like in Islam is that you can have a very close relationship with Allah, with your Creator. For example, in Catholicism, you don't have the same closeness because you did something bad. You have to go to the priest for him to see. You want to be close to God. You want to pray. You have to go to the mass. The priest has to pray. It's like if you go to God through the priest. The priest is between you and him. You can't be so close directly. Of course, the Christian, you can pray directed to God. But you can't be so close because some things you have to have the priest to do for you. In Islam, there is no such thing. You want to pray, you don't need to have a priest between you and God. You want to ask for forgiveness, you don't have to have someone to be between you and Allah to forgive you. Like, that's the beauty. You can. This closeness, it's personal. It's not something cold that you have to have. The Christian religion today isn't what Jesus preached. No, there are different kinds of Bibles, different kinds of translations. The Protestants have one Bible, the Orthodox have one Bible, the Catholics have one Bible. So they can't reach the real words of Jesus. How they can, if they can't reach the real words, what Jesus really said, how they can say, oh, I am Christian, I follow Jesus? They can't. No, I'm saying that it's impossible for follow the religion of Christ today, of Jesus today, because it's lost. If you go and you don't have to search the Islamic sources. If you go by the Christians, researchers about the Bible, even today they say that the Gospels weren't written by they say that each one of the Gospel has the name of one of the Jesus followers, but it's just the name. Wasn't he who wrote this? And there are many differences about them. Some in the Gospels, some say that's about a part of life of Jesus. One say that he did this, and the other Gospel speaking about the same a part of his life, say something completely different. You can go to any Bible and pick and read for yourself. I don't need to say. You can buy a Bible and look yourself. You find only in the 4 Gospels you find so much differences. When I was 10 years old, was the first time I went to Spain, because my family side my father was Spanish. When I saw the old uh, Islamic palaces and mosques, and the people told me about the Islamic past in Spain. I was very interested. I liked it very much. I liked to visit the palaces of the Muslim emperors of Andalusia, and I liked when people told to me about this, and I asked people about this. This was my first contact with Islam. And after this, when I returned back to Brazil, I began to read. You know, after a few years, though, I kept searching. If no, I like it to read about this, to ask people about this. I asked in school, I asked my history teachers if they know about this, if they could uh, give me a book about this. I wanted to know more about this, about the Muslims. When I was 15 years old, I went back to Spain. I was older and more serious. So when I went back and saw again all those monuments, I wanted to know more about them, about these people. And I began to research more who they were, from where did they come from, where they believed, why they came from so far from the Arabian Peninsula to Spain, what they were doing there, why their kingdom in Spain was considered the golden era of Spanish history. I wanted to know why. And I began to study their history, their culture, and of course their religion, Islam. I got a copy of the Quran, and the internet was available at that time. I always researched about it, and the books about history and culture of Islamic people. And when I was 18 years old, I was invited by a Muslim guy from my city to go to the mosque, to talk with the imam. I immediately accepted this invitation, and the next Friday I went with him to the mosque to speak with the imam and to see. I was very excited. I wanted because all the knowledge I had about Muslims until then was almost only through books. No, I had met very few Muslims until then. In a society that places a lot of emphasis in pleasuring himself, in going to party and drinking and having fun and having girlfriends, I didn't felt I belonged to this kind of society, and I felt alone and empty in this kind of society. I wanted something else. I wanted something that was meaningful, something that completed me. Then I went to the mosque for the first time when I was 18 years old and began to have conversations with the Imam. It was Sheikh Ahmed Mahairi. He was a Syrian gentleman, and he came every Friday to perform the Salatul Jummah. At that time, in my city, we didn't have a permanent imam. So this gentleman, Sheikh Mahairi, came every Friday to do the Salatul Jummah. And every Friday I began to go too, and having conversations with this gentleman, asking him about Islam, about God, about the Prophet. And I began to see that the Islamic way of life, the emphasis in the ethics and morality, and having an upright life, to have good morals, not to drink, not to waste your time, not to have several girlfriends, to be a productive member of the society, to help other people, and to believe in God, and to have your life following the commands of, of God, of the one who created you. I wanted this. I wanted to be part of this. I didn't want it to have fun. I wanted to have a meaningful life. And I felt I have found it in Islam. So sometime later, I decided that I wanted to live this. I wanted this to be my lifestyle. I wanted this to be my culture. I didn't want it to be a normal Brazilian guy who wake up in the morning, studied or worked, and in the night went to a party and drink and went back home or had a girlfriend. I wanted to be closer to God. I wanted to, and the thought of having a life like this was very important in my decision to revert it to Islam. After I reverted, after I took my Shahada, I felt very excited. I felt happy. I felt that finally I had found something that completed me. I was no more a shy Brazilian teenager. I had responsibilities toward my creator, and I was very happy. I had finally found what I was looking for since I was younger, a purpose in my life, and it felt, it still feels very, it's very good. In the media, in all Western world in Brazil, not only in Brazil, but all the Western world, 90% of the time they speak about Islam or Muslims, a Muslim terrorist, Islamic terrorism. It's always associated with terrorism, with violence against women, with violence against non-Muslims, with violence against Sunni and Shia. So in the West, the Islam is always associated with violence, unfortunately. So most people, unfortunately, they make this association because they don't know, they don't have access to other sources of information. I believe that some of the big companies, some of the big news companies, they have an agenda against Islam. And like polemics sells. Wherever you say something polemic, people buy it. Some of the news companies, they have an agenda against Islam because they have they receive money from people and organization that's connected to people that don't like Islam. And the other side, some people just wanted to sell news, and violence sells. So they exaggerated and don't try to be truthful. Like in Brazil, there are some magazines. They always say something bad against Islam. Prayer is the key to paradise. The prayer is the key to attain closeness to Allah. So the prayer, the salah, is something very important. If people knew the Muslims knew the value of prayer, the spiritual benefits of prayer, they would never lose a single prayer in their lives. Now, when I pray, I feel free. I try to let all the world behind me. I try to let all the worries all of this world behind and try to focus. And try to focus to have a perfect prayer. Because the prayer, especially it's the sajda, it's the moment we are more close to Allah. So I try to focus all my feelings and all my thoughts towards the moment, to attain this closeness. I came here to Turkey to try to learn more about Islam. After I reverted, I always had this desire to learn more, because the access to Islamic education in Brazil is very difficult, and I wanted to learn more and to live among Muslims. So I was blessed to this opportunity to come here, and alhamdulillah, I'm studying and learning Turkish language. I'm learning more, about religion, about learning the Quran. Alhamdulillah. I found Turkish people very nice. They are very welcome. Especially when they discover you are Muslim, they, oh, mashallah, mashallah, please, oh, come to my house. I want to talk with you. They were very, very friendly. And even if they aren't very religious, some Turkish people, they are not very religious, they like very much when they met them and say, no, I'm Muslim, I choose to be Muslim, I came here to know more about Islam, and they get very happy, and they are very proud of their culture and their history, and it's something I like very much, the attachment that the Turkish people have to their history and culture. It's something we don't have in Brazil. Very few people in Brazil are attached to their history and culture, and it's something I found very beautiful here, and something I respect very much about the Turkish people. I believe that the Islamic world today is real chaos. We are very divided between our differences, between Arabics, non-Arabics, Turks, and Pakistanis, and Indians, and all those differences. We are not united. We are divided. We are fighting among ourselves about everything. We don't have union. This lack of union, I believe, is one of the greatest problems, both in political side and economical side, and the religious side as well. How can Muslims desire to spread Islam in Brazil, for example, if they don't reach an agreement? All Muslim people, they are living in this situation. There is a hadith that Allah don't change the situation of a people until the people change themselves. So the Muslim people, the individual Muslim, first they have to change himself. He can't expect the other people to be Muslim if he is not an example for them. If he don't pray 5 times a day, if he don't fast in Ramadan, if he don't pay his zakah, if he is not modest, if he don't behave like a Muslim, how can he expect other people to see the beauty of Islam? The beauty of Islam is the Muslim who practices Islam. So every Muslim in the world, be somebody who grew up as a Muslim or be him a revert like me, they have first to change his situation internally, to change their hearts and their behaviors. And when other people see how real Muslims behave, they will begin to be more interested. Because then Islam will not be something perfect in the books, but when you come from the book to the real world, you see something different. You see the Muslims are not living according to Islam. No, they will see that Muslims live according to Islam. They live according to what they believe. They live according to what they preach. So they will begin to be more interested. It is the biggest dawah for the Muslims, is to practice Islam and allow people to see it. Islam is the truth, is the real religion, is less revelation, is the only way to God. But unfortunately, many people, even Muslims, don't act upon this truth. And if more Muslims begin to realize this gift they have, to being raised as a Muslims, that we in the West, we that choose Islam, we don't have this. We have to strive to have a little bit of this. And if the Muslims who are more grateful to this blessing they received, they would stop trying to be like Westerners and trying to focus themselves on what's more important focus in the next life, so focus in the hereafter, not in having pleasures in this life. To go to a mosque and talk to the Imam and read the book, read the Quran and other Islamic books, and talk with knowledgeable people, with hojas, to learn more about Islam, to ask them. Don't be shy to ask questions. Don't be shy to say that you don't know. If you give one step towards Allah, Allah give 10 steps toward you. If you go walking towards Allah, Allah came running towards you. It's a hadith sharif of the Prophet. Search. Don't be shy. And inshallah, if your intention is true, if you have ikhlas, you will be rewarded by it, inshallah.